Hey, you're watching Vinyl 4 Miles, your best resource for music, audio gear, and vinyl reviews. Today we're looking at some really awesome products from Arylic Audio. These two products here will literally change your setup overnight. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Michael. This is Vinyl 4 Miles. What we do here is audio gear, music gear, guitar gear, anything having to do with music, vinyl. I'm gonna nerd out and I'm gonna bring you content. So today we're taking a look at Arylic Audio's offerings with a digital 50-watt amplifier and their preamp. Now both of these are much more than just an amplifier and preamplifier. They have multi-room wireless streaming capabilities. They could fully stream all kinds of different high-def music services such as Spotify, Tidal, AirPlay, you name it, these things are capable. And here's the kicker, they're all under $300. The top piece here is called the S50 Plus. This is the preamplifier you can integrate into any existing stereo amp setup or homeroom setup. This one runs $219. And what we have below that, believe it or not, the small unit here is a 50-watt digital amplifier. It also has multi-room capabilities, all kinds of streaming stuff built into it, and this only runs for $199. I can literally fit this amplifier in the palm of my hand. You can mount this behind your speaker and not even know that it's there. You don't even have to have this open for people to see. It's so small, you can literally tuck it away anywhere. So why don't we go ahead and kick it off with the Arylic A50 Plus. It's a full digital amplifier capable of outputting 50 watts at 4 ohms per channel and then 30 watts per channel at 8 ohms. That is plenty loud. So what I have set up here is, I have some JBL 2500s bookshelf speakers set up here. I have it hooked into my Arylic amplifier, and then to the right over here, I have my turntable, which is put into the line in of the A50 Plus. That's how I'm using this setup. So what do you get with the A50 Plus? What can you play? What are the inputs, the ins and the outs? Well, let's go over that right now. So the back of this unit, which is very small and compact, has your analog RCA input, so you can connect a CD player, turntable, any audio source you want. It also has a digital SPDIF input and optical input. Now the outputs on this thing, you have just speaker outs, and it does use a Phoenix connector. Now this is capable of full Wi-Fi streaming. Now if you're asking, well, what's the difference between Wi-Fi and Bluetooth? It's all about the bit rate. Wi-Fi, hands down, is the best. It's what Sonos uses, it's what all the other competitors to this product use. Tried and true. The only downside is you have to use it where Wi-Fi is available. But I will say the Wi-Fi antenna on this thing is killer. Like this is picking up the Wi-Fi signal in here and it's on the other side of the house is my router. So this had no problem pulling in the Wi-Fi signal, so that's great. Now the amplifier does have a micro USB input, so it kind of gives you all kinds of different options. You don't have to use a streaming service, you don't have to use an analog audio source, you can actually use digital if you have a bunch of FLAC files or high def waves. You can just put a hard drive next to this thing and stream your music wirelessly throughout your house. Now the power input for this, it comes with a power adapter and it has a ginormous brick attached to it, so keep that in mind, it's a pretty heavy brick, but they give you a decent amount of cable, so it's not gonna be like pulling this thing behind the counter or putting unnecessary drag on the back of the unit. Now, if you're wondering, does this compete with Sonos? Does this compete with the other music streamers available on the market? Answer is yes, it does. And the list of services that it accepts, it's all through the 4Stream app. So my streaming platform of choice is Tidal with MQA audio. This is fully capable of decoding MQA, so it does have a dock built into it, and you can stream high def audio throughout your house, which is great. The one thing that this does not have is Apple Music. If you're a huge Apple Music person, stuff like Sonos does have Apple Music built into their native app. This does not, however, you can still play all of your Apple Music at the high bit rate through AirPlay. So this does support AirPlay too. All you have to do is open up Apple Music, choose the music you want to listen to, click that little AirPlay icon, go ahead and find the amp on here and you can broadcast to it no problem. So while it's not native in the app, it still does support Apple Music. Now this is not going to be like a high-end amplifier if you're an audiophile and you're looking for like the cleanest crisp signal. You will notice here there is some slight hiss. So that is apparent, but I mean, for 200 bucks, I will not complain about a little bit of a hiss when you're not playing music. Not a deal breaker for me. So that's basically the full features set here of the amp. Let's go ahead and focus on the features of the Arylic S50 Pro Plus. So they all come with the same thing. Come with some analog RCA cables and they come with the remote. and then 2 antennas that you have to put on here. Like I said, one's for Wi-Fi, one's for Bluetooth. So now I'm connecting to the S50 Pro Plus. I'm setting it up here, but I'm gonna be moving it into the other room. Cool. So now you can see within the 4-stream app, I have Music Room and I have Vinyl Amp 1. Vinyl Amp 1 is my amp. Music Room is just the S50 Pro Plus. Same thing applies here. All the same music is available within the app here, but I'm gonna go over the features of the S50 Pro Plus right now. So what are some of the main differences? Like what do you get with the S50 Pro Plus? Well, first off, S50 Pro Plus does have a nice little screen on here that indicates what source you're using, what you're playing, and then it will even display the title of the track that you're listening to and the artist, which is really cool. So this has all the same features. It has the Wi-Fi, has Bluetooth 5.0, but this one is capable of aptX HD playback, which is great for people who want to have the highest bitrate and highest stream quality possible. But the main thing about the S50 Pro Plus is it's meant to be used in an already integrated stereo amp setup. So it does have more outs than the amp does. This is not meant to be used to powered speakers. This is meant to just be used with existing setups. So your outputs that you get on here is you have a line in and a line out. This is great for people with vintage amps that don't have any type of streaming capability. You can now hook this into your vintage amp, listen to high def streaming, listen to Tidal, Spotify, whatever you want. Load your USB music library onto this thing. It pretty much opens up the modern technologies to your vintage amps that you have in your house. So you do have an optical in and an optical out, which means you can use this with like home theater type setups. And then it does have a LAN connection. So if you don't want to use Wi-Fi and you want to connect this directly to your network, you can. But this one actually has a full USB in. So the amp uses a micro USB connection. This one you could just connect any USB thumb drive. So if you get a USB solid state thumb drive, you could load that with thousands of high def songs, connect it to this thing and then stream it throughout your house. Super cool. And it is worth mentioning that both these products have trigger outs. If you want to use like a universal remote for these things, you can. And then finally, this does come with the power source. This one is much smaller because the power brick is mostly on the inside of the unit. So this one's a lot easier to integrate into existing setups and you're not gonna have this giant brick. It's because this is not really powering anything. It's just giving you the capability to stream stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and take this preamp, hook it into my main stereo outside, pair it with my other amp that I have. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and set that up and see how it looks. All right, so I'm here in my music room. I have my turntable here connected into the S50 Pro Plus into my amp. What I'm gonna try to do is go through the line into the S50 Pro Plus and send it to my office where the A50 Plus, the amp is in there connected to speakers. So I should be able to play a record here and hear it in the other room. So why don't we go ahead and do that. Go ahead and you can follow along with me on my screen. I'm gonna record my screen here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is you can see here's my 2 rooms, music room and the vinyl amp room. Music room's right here. That's the S50 Pro Plus. So what I'm gonna do is select this. I'm gonna go to browse and do line in. So I should now be listening to the line in the music room. Let's go ahead and press play. So we can hear now, we're listening to Chemist. And if I wanna play this in the other room, all I have to do is click devices, music room, I click the plus here and I choose my other room, which is Vinyl Amp 1, click done. It'll sit here and wait for a few seconds and then it'll combine the two. So I'm gonna turn the volume down here. And I'm gonna turn the volume up in the Vinyl Amp room. And I can hear it from here. So I know that it is playing my turntable from here in the other room. What I'm also doing, so I'm gonna unpair the rooms. Okay, rooms are unpaired now. What I'm also doing in the other room, I have a record playing as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose Vinyl Amp room, browse, line in, go back to devices. Now I wanna play the record player in that room in this room. So I'm gonna go ahead and combine the 2 rooms together. Now it's gonna wait a few seconds. Now I hear the turntable from the other room playing in here. So I can literally use my Audio Technica and listen to it in my office now, or I could use my project and listen to it here. That's how it works, all through the app. So now let's go ahead and head back into my office. So what capabilities can this really bring into your home? Well, first off, if you need an amp and you need a wireless streaming service, A50 Plus right here, this is gonna give you 50 watts of power. You can listen to all your streaming services, and then all you have to do is just buy a few more preamps and sprinkle them throughout your house, or a few more of these amps, and you can do multi-room audio just like that. Very small, it can fit anywhere. You can even hide it if you don't want people to see it. I could tuck it away down here in my cabinet. Now, how does this stack up against Sonos? even though I am on a Sonos landscape, I have the Sonos amp, right? So if I were to get the Sonos port, it gives me a little more functionality over the amp. That thing is way too expensive for what it does compared to this. So hands down, I would say get this S50 Pro Plus over the Sonos port any day. It has all the same capabilities, and it gives you aptX HD capabilities. Definitely, I would go with this, hands down. If anyone came to me for advice, I'm looking to add a smart preamp with streaming capability, multi-room audio to my existing amplifier, I would tell them to get this. Way cheaper. The build quality on this is great. You get aluminum case on both of these. The footprint is very small, and the capabilities are just endless on this thing. You can also upgrade your firmware and do all kinds of different stuff through their software if you want to go ahead and check out Arylic's website. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out some of my other audio reviews, you can check those out up here. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you're not following the channel, I really appreciate it. Subscribe, leave a comment below. What do you think of this amp? Do you have anything that's an alternative to this? What are you guys using? I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, I'm Michael. Thanks so much.